Hello and welcome to Made Unmade, the podcast where I go on a hunt and a treasure digging into the past of the films that got made and the unmade films that suffered the drawer death, or conservation maybe we should say. This is a what if also, where I treat these films as when I wrote them, as they were gonna get made. So we will start today with one of the first scripts that I ever wrote that was called Girls and Glue. And at the time I wrote Girls and Glue, I had moved from the small town where I come from. I started writing it in 99 and I had just started to kind of grasp where I was, where I found myself in this big town, big city of Stockholm. And the times when I go back and look at the manuscript, it's kind of reminding of these crazy times we live in now. This was where reality TV had started to pollute our screens. It was also very, very unstable times economically. This was pre 9/11. But still very, very paranoid times, a lot of discussion what to do with society in general. You could say also the difference maybe between now and then is that these days we say, Big Brother, please see me. And in those days there was still some kind of discussion of, are we heading towards a Big Brother state? You know, where every move is recorded and so on. In those days, this era that we live in now, where basically we record our steps by ourselves, that is something. It was something different, I tell you. So, cut to me. I had just finished together with two other very talented filmmakers, Peter Fransell and Leonard Palmestål. We finished our graduation film called Dog is Watching, which was a short about the violence of security guards and the problems with security guards that they were given back then, and maybe still given the same authority and same rights as policemen, with the only difference that they were not properly educated. And we kind of wanted to turn that on its head and make a film which was some kind of Clockwork Orange, Man Bites Dog inspired mockumentary, where we actually two layers, one where we follow them cops style, kind of let them speak uncensored to the camera, and in a way you had this feeling that the documentary team was on the guards' side. We also, through film, saw what happened in these interrogation rooms when the cameras had been turned off. So it was also a kind of a exploration of this, who are you when the cameras are on and who are you when they turn it off. And as you know, these days this line is very, very blurred. But hey, this was the late 90s. This film had just came out, and we had this very great festival run with the film, which I wrote and directed. We also won the National Film Festival made for youngsters with this film. An award for second best movie. Anyhow, heading towards the Danish Film School, where I wanted to go, where Lars von Trier and Thomas Winterberg had went. So I wanted, as a young man in my 20s. I was 20 at that point. Desperately want to get into this school. And I also had this deal with myself that I wanted to make a feature film before I turned 21, or else I had some pact that I would kill myself. Fortunately, I made another film when I was 21, which we will discuss later on, called Köftbögen. But at that point, I was obsessed with both film and the idea of making a debut film. I wanted to make something that had not been seen in Sweden before, you know. I thought back then that Swedish films were either very, very boring or too light for their for my taste at least, and also very theatrical, right? I was also a student of film science at the Stockholm University. In those days, I saw maybe 4 to 5 films per day, you know, starting the morning with 2 films in film science, you know, making this journey through all the films from the silent movies to up to today. Then taking out, because the film school was also in the nighttime, so on the way home from film school, we generally watched a film on our way home. And then there was also a video store in Söder where I lived back then that was open, I think, until 3 o'clock in the night, you know. So I generally, and they also rented out, probably illegally, Criterion Collection movies. So I also snatched one film on the way home, you know. So this was my diet, an immersive experience of, you know, kid coming from small town Herrljunga, where I'm actually back after 25 years, and coming from this very, very poor diet, because in those days also the only thing we had here in Herrljunga was the local gas station actually had a pretty good video section, you know. It was like a barrack. But at the age of 16 or 17, I've basically seen everything that was there. So for me, the move to Stockholm had a huge impact on me. And of course, I wanted to place my debut film alongside the great ones, like Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets, even though it was not technically his debut. I wanted to make a film like Kevin Smith's Clerks, or Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs, or Hal Hartley, you know, or even Godard's Breathless. This was the kind of film I wanted to make, or Bo Widerberg's Barnvagnen or Kvarteret Korpen. I wanted it to be real. I wanted it to be grounded, and I wanted it to be about something that made some kind of meaning in this very, very confused, alienated world I grew up in. Yeah. So after winning this festival, I got contacted by Memphis Film and Lukas Moodysson, who back then had made, I think, only made Fucking Åmål, Show Me Love in English. And he was asking, you know, he had been part of the jury and asked me if I had something, you know, because he was also working as a producer, you know. And back then I was going around with this little idea. I wanted to make some kind of some kind of film that connected a bunch of short stories about young women who was, because I hadn't seen any good film back then, and I still kind of, you have to look hard for it, right? To see a good film about a bunch of characters who are in the midst of their life. They're not let's say, it's not a coming of age story, but it's about these people, because also when you are 2021, you actually your perception of yourself is not that you're a young person, at least not for me. It was more of, I felt like a kind of, not old guy, but time was passing, and everything is also put up much more. You have this idea of how reality will turn out, and you find yourself as a disillusioned person in this big city, what Marx would call alienation, this state of alienation. And I wanted to make a movie that celebrated these kind of aliens, so to speak, what other people in those days would probably call freaks, which is basically just a code word, or was a code word then, for highly sensitive, intelligent people who somehow found themselves in these lousy jobs with no prospects of the future. And then in the film, I wanted to make it over 3 days. Something happens that gives them a chance to break free out of their shackles, so to speak. And I was also, of course, very influenced by the two books, Backlash and Stift, The Betrayal of Men, which was kind of like a literary pendant to Fight Club. And also in the year of 99, when I started to kind of think about making this film, Girls and Glue, it was also a fantastic movie year, as you all know. It was the year of Magnolia. It was the year of Fight Club. It was the year of Boys Don't Cry, American Beauty, and the list goes on and on and on. But it was this kind of feeling of end times. If you also remember, there was the computer bug. If you don't get this very, very, very important update, all your computer will believe that it's in 1973. So you had this kind of also end of an era, obviously, because it was also the end of the 20th century. So I wanted to make this film that took this feelings of end days into it, and follow these young women on their way to some kind of liberation. Because I also basically was tired of seeing these films where you feel like you want to take some kind of heavy sedation afterwards. I wanted to depict this inner transformation and make it into a journey. And I sit here now with the script of Girls and Glue, and I will read you the 3 first pages. From Black. Narrator, Varja. We are born slippery, like glue girls and glue boys. Fade in. Interior, school hall, night. we see a doll with "Made in Taiwan" on its right buttocks, being led up by a lot of hands in the shimmer of a fluorescent light. The narrator. So you have to do something before the glue works and you get stuck. Then we see a small article. The article is decorated with a picture of a face in mosaic, criminal portrait styling. The headline says, "Woman forced her boss to deliver child." Dolly into the mosaic pictures narrator. I Svenska Dagbladet, May 92, page 9, you can read about Sara Persson, a secretary at a top-notch company. As so many other stories of moral, this is passed on to the obscure pages. The story of Sara is told extremely fast. The moments barely have the time to intercut. A still picture of a Christmas table. We go into the photo where we see men in ties by the Christmas table. Further away in the corner with a raised glass, Sara Persson sits in a red dress. Narrator. On a Christmas party in 91, Sara Persson meets her boss, Bo, inside the ladies' toilet. Why Bo has chosen the ladies' toilet due to the pissoir is not clear, but he and Sara has the obligatory forbidden hot moment with each other. Old Bosse is doing Sara in the ladies' room. Stills of how Sara and Bo look at each other. Sara is apparently drunk. A closed toilet door. Interior office day. Sara sits in tears at Bo's office. Narrator. Alright, so Sara becomes pregnant and she tells it to Bosse, who says he doesn't know about this, and as an extra little bonus, he fires Sara and gives her a box to put down her belongings into. The company policy, no relations between employees, is of course only applying to Sara. Sara is packing down her things into a box. And celebrity lawyers, we won't speak of them. Do you think you will get Justice and Leif Silbersky on a secretary salary? Sara releases a bomb instead. Xerox machine room day. Sara puts down her power dress and she sits down with spread legs on the Xerox machine. She pushes the Xerox button. She copies up the little company secret with extra brightness and write with a secretary's good skills, a transcriptions of Bosse's toilet invites and put it on the company motivation board where fun anecdotes and bikini postcards from Gran Canaria normally spreads light and heat and warmth when the employees lost 27,000 crowns per month motivation. In the distance, we see Sara tear down the little Dilbert strips and sayings like, "Don't lose the suck. The world is filled with lost suckers." A little bit later, the employees are looking at Sara's manifesto. Narrator, some things you cannot close your eyes for. Interior, Bo's office day. The door is open to the office. 2 guards comes in and see Sara sitting on the floor. We hear sound of water. Shortly thereafter, the security guards find Sarah urinating on Bosse's linoleum floor. Sarah smiles. Interior, Sarah's apartment, night. Sarah is standing by the telephone with a big tummy. Cut to 9 months later, when the water has broken. Instead of calling the ambulance, Sarah calls her old boss and says she wants to make peace. The water is running along her leg through the morning robe. She takes up the telephone and dials a number. Interior, Bo's home, evening. Bo is in pyjamas next to his wife, who is reading. He looks nervously towards her. And even if old Bosse has principles, he is not the one who is declining a friend calling him in the middle of the night. A little bit later, exterior, Sarah's apartment, night. Bo stands and smirks with a wine bottle in his hand outside the door. Door is opening. He is turning right into the barrel of a gun. Under pistol threat, Sarah Persson forces the old executive CEO to deliver her child. Sarah is pushing and drinking wine with one hand and pointing the gun towards Bo with the other one. Bo looks happy and out comes a little girl. He puts the child on Sarah. Bosse becomes so happy to see this piece of life, a female carbon copy of himself, that he offers Sarah her work back and with a raise. Sarah says kindly and friendly no and shoots him then in the knee. Bosse goes down to the floor. Sarah is with the child in her arms. She looks up into the ceiling, into the fluorescent light. That's what it's all about, not giving up. Fuck nice deliveries and turning the other cheek. Why not the whole face, huh? Why not take the blow and the blood that comes to the mouth and then hit back? Title card with red typewriter letters. Girls and glue. Super 8. A young woman, Melin, is snorting glue and laughs. Opening credits. Exterior, street day. We see a dove come flying. It's flying lower and lower in heading for window where it says Benny's Video. Interior, video store, day. Karin Karlsson, video clerk, stands and putting out movies along the shelves. A radio is on. Varja, radio voice. It goes up on the stock market. Experts are now worried that what happened a couple of years in Tokyo will happen again. Take it easy is Heikensten's advice to the small savers. Interior, toilet, video store, day. Varja Jansson is sitting with a number of Ding Ding Vad on the toilet. She turns it around. It says, the world is ending. Varja smiles. Varja, this is Karin's voice. Can you take a customer? I'll be there. Interior, home for the elderly, morning. A young woman is going through the home for the elderly and is passing the community room. Purse is resting on her shoulders. There, a bunch of confused elder women sits by a table and waves at her. The woman, hello. The woman looks disappointed when the young woman takes a sudden left turn in the corridor. She takes up a name tag from her purse and puts it on. On the name tag it says Maria. Maria goes through a door where an older woman is in a respirator. A film poster of the old school with the breath in your neck med andan i halsen sits on the wall. Hey Elsie, shut the fuck up, my head hurts, Elsie says. We go into the film poster behind Elsie and dwells on her name in the cast. Elsie Stålberg. Interior rehab clinic day. Åsa Sandin is walking along the corridor with a purse in her hand. In the doors are different women. Some takes her hand, while Åsa herself seemed to have been in quite a hurry. She comes to the reception where the head mistress sits. Åsa, time to check out. The headmistress nods and takes up a small white plastic bag. Åsa Sandin, belongings, a piece of flask, throw. The headmistress is looking at Åsa. A blue comb, throw. A wallet, swine leather. A pair of white pants, brand Sloggy. A pair of stockings. A packet of Marlboro Lights and 2 pieces of chewing gum, Hubba Bubba, with apple taste. That was all. Åsa writes her name with big letters. She takes the plastic bag. She takes up the stockings. She puts them in her pocket and puts in a Hubba Bubba in her mouth. The rest she throws in a waste bin on her way out. Exterior video store morning. The dove is coming closer to the window of the video store. Bam! The dove flies right into the window. Black title card, almost like paradise. Karin comes out of the video store. She sees the dead dove who lays on the ground. She picks it up, looks around. In the window on the other side of the street, she sees a sign with a rolling text. 16th of November 2000, -7 degrees, 10:29. Have a nice day. Karin goes into the store again. Interior video store day. Karin goes along the aisles. Karin voiceover. My name is Karin Karlsson and I'm 26 years old. I've been working here for 1.5 years after I got kicked out of university. You learn pretty quickly. When somebody asks after natural experiences, they don't want to see microcosmos. So you become an expert in titles like Aladdin's Slampa, Robocock, and so on. But it's not so bad as it sounds. The owner, Benny, came only to pick up the money. And then I was working with Varja. So this is the beginning of Girls and Glue. As the story goes along, we meet Varja and Karin, and how they are kind of stuck in their lives. Goes back to the title Girls and Glue, that they're all stuck in some kind of frozen moment in time, yeah. And Varja and Karin, they have this kind of interesting friend dynamic where Varja is this revolutionary film buff and makes these anarchistic film experiments that nobody wants to give support to, which I guess was some kind of alter ego for myself at that time. Then we have also Åsa, who is we met there in the beginning, coming out of rehab, and she is saying at some point in the film, it's always been only 2 things for me, laundry and death. She says, I've been stealing laundry as long as I can remember. I don't know why, but it feels good. It makes me forget how pointless this life is. And then it smells good. In the end, we're all Softlan Ultra addicts. It's about also Åsa's story, how she comes out of the rehab, and she has this boyfriend, Fredrik. He's constantly worried that Åsa would try to commit suicide again. And also what was special now as I go through this script is that all these girls had their own voiceover. So it was kind of an interesting way because it's like 5 very, very personal stories. Fredrik, he is this kind of anxious guy who all the time is waltzing around a minefield, if his girlfriend will try to kill herself again. Then we have also Maria, which is working in this nursery home for the elderly, and she's taking care of this older actress called Elsie, who has breast cancer. She is somehow somebody who once was this great actress in fictional Swedish movies that I came up with, in this brief noir streak we had here in Sweden. Now she's kind of forgotten, and her only, interaction with somebody else is with this Maria. I guess their relationship is about this horrible longing we as humans have to kind of the wish to communicate, but in Elsie's case, it's just somebody who has been commissioned to, and these two women, the old woman Elsie and Maria, they try to kind of connect. She says at one point, Maria asks her, "What kind of roles did you have?" Shit. They were all shit. Little bad roles. I made a supporting role for Hasse Ekman, but it was shit as well. Maria picks in her purse and while Elsie is in the middle of her monologue. Are there any good roles at all in this fucking comedy? Huh. Fucking cancer. I would like to go to the cinema. Last time it was like 7 years or something. You think I'm ranting, right? You think I'm ranting? That I'm a grumpy old bitch? Something like that. But you are nice, really. I know it. Anyhow, we went to see some film that was called Fried Green Tomatoes at Whistle Stop Cafe. Oh, Maria. Oh, I love that movie. Elsie. Yeah, I hate it. Old ladies are not like whoever she is in that movie. Jessica Tandy, smiling and cute, fucking bitch. Oh, that was the last film I saw in the cinema. We're gonna read the death ads. Maria takes up the newspaper and put up the death ads. Should I start from the top? Elsie nods. We are mourning our beloved Andreas Karlsson, make, vän och far. Oh, I don't know him. Next. Margit Silversparre. Which year was she born? 32. I don't know her either. Oh, here you are lying and you think you have friends. But it's nice that they don't die, right? Nice. Death is probably as boring as life. I want to die like this. You can decide that for yourself. You can decide that for yourself. You can decide that for yourself. Yeah. Your voice is cracking a lot, Britt. Maria, my name is Maria. Every day I wake up and think that this day will be exactly like the next one. But it's only now. It hasn't always been like that. Elsie, yeah, I wanted to die since I was a little kid. But people say it's best to stay on track. To be here for a little while more. And now I'm laying here and I can only dream about how better everything would have been if I killed myself as a younger one. Oh, fuck. Tell me something that makes it good being a human. Love? Love, yeah. No. I never felt it. My husband left me before I got our first kid. And the others? No. Men are animals, sleeping around with everybody. That's why I like film. Because there you don't always have to find out who they really are. And if they do something shitty, they generally have a good cause for it on screen, I mean. Do you think most of them tells them? No. Does it matter? Maria takes up a note from her purse. She gives it over to Elsie, who takes it. She put it closer to her face. What is this fucking... Elsie starts to laugh. I found it among my boyfriend's things, Maria says. You know, he's a teacher. We see the note. It depicts the boyfriend who takes a student from behind. Two dots are drawn. On one it says Leonard and the other one it says Per. And this is kind of like the beginning of the Maria and Elsie story, where Maria has this idea of that her boyfriend is having an affair with a male student. Every day also in the video store, Varja and Karin, especially Karin, they have this dirty caller that is calling. And Karin is kind of disturbed by it, but again, since the theme is somehow lonely people and how they try to, in their fucked up way, communicate, she's also somehow intrigued by this dirty caller. I guess the whole film is about this, that, you know, life has been put on pause for these characters, and somehow they try to, you know, they take what they get, so to speak. They all kind of are blaming outer circumstances for where they are, and in the film they're all heading towards some kind of opening where they can change their lives. Varja, she is trying to make her... She tries to kind of get everything together in a script that she will never finish. And she is also having some problems with her boyfriend. They're all kind of caught in this, like, in between being ordinary and then this very, very special characters as they are. Varja is, she wants to change society, like we all wanted to back then, but don't know how. I can also say that when this was written, there was more of a, how to say, the system is going down, so let's take down the system before it goes down, kind of feeling. And then, at least maybe because I was younger, I had this feeling of that you could change things, that change was possible. Also that film was, how to say, changing force, you know, and the purest form where you could change something. Listen to this. Karin and Varja, they try to discuss what to do with their lives, more or less. And then Varja says like this: I just woke up this morning and I saw that I'm a part of this fucking lemming train. You know those pregnant courses I'm going to with Peter? Mama, how it works. And the fucking chocolate pudding. You get away with these kind of things. Not to blow things up or write your fortune to extinct species. As long as you confess and say, this society is okay, you will always get away, like you and me. We think we change something by putting out imported quality Criterion Collection movies on the we recommend shelf, or that we're paying our bills to Greenpeace. But we are not. We will go on autopilot all the way until we crash. Karin, exactly like my student loan, you know, I'm gonna pay it off today. For what? Because I got kicked out, because my tutor didn't like my thesis. Do you know what he said about it before he said that I couldn't be in the university? That it wasn't about personal tastes. But we don't do anything, right? We read about Biafra children, IKEA Nazis, and people who lives on the street. We see on TV and renting out movies with girls who get English licorice put up their ass. And my ass. We're so used to it. With money you can do anything. It even seems okay. You get away. You can make Sällskapsresan 4, or you can buy an own little country. You know, in Thailand you can blow up a cow for $100. Blow a cow, huh? And everybody says, yes, it's shit, but is there anything better? I don't know. Why you work here? To survive. I think I'm surviving even if I'm not working. I want to try how it is on the other side. To shut my mouth and do something instead of talking about it. That's at least a difference, right? Varja kisses Karin on the mouth. She takes her plate, stand up to start doing the dishes. Karin is sitting there without a sound. So, as the story progresses, Fredrik, the boyfriend of Åsa, comes back after doing some shopping and find Åsa again trying to hang herself. And she says something like this: people think that you appreciate life more when you've been close dying a couple of times, but I don't. I never say thank you God for making me live. I just try to find a better way to do it. This relationship between Fredrik and Åsa is starting to kind of decline, because he all the time wants everything to be so good and great, you know. Dialogues like this. Fredrik says to Åsa, you think you're the only one who is feeling bad here, huh? Åsa says, I don't feel bad. I just want to die. It's a difference. Fredrik, and you cannot think of a single time where you like to live? Åsa is shaking her head and chews her gum high and very audible. Not even with me, when we were stealing the laundry from the neighbor? Åsa is shrugging her shoulders. I like the laundry, but I never know what to do with it later. Fredrik starts to laugh for himself. He shakes his head and he rises. I go to bed for a little while. The whole idea, I guess, with Girls and Glue was to make this very absurd. When I read it now, I can see the nihilism and the very, very, very dark humor. But in many ways, it was also, I think, spot on of the times, because this was the only way how to perceive these heavy times that we were all experiencing. Whereas now, this type of humor would probably be to be seen as too dark, you know, and it was more of this thing, like these characters who find themselves in a very, very dark spot, and their only way of surviving through this was with this dark humor. Then for Karin and Varja, there is also this girl coming into the video store called Malin. And as Karin explains to us in the film, is like Malin lived on top of the video store and used to come down here after the morning's first glue session. There was probably no one who had such a destroyed sense of smell as Malin. When she was younger, she was taking amphetamine. Serious drug abuse demands some motivation. Malin was too lazy. What do? Malin, voiceover. You gotta work with a lot of fluids. We see a still picture of Malin on in a auto shop. Thinner, propane, amyl nitrate, epoxy, lithium, gas. Everything goes as long as you want to. It's not a coincidence that Malin's latest job have been in a printing shop, in a painting firm. Malin calls herself a creative addict, and she basically comes into the video store to talk and pass time. I guess I also had this idea of, obviously I was influenced by Smoke, a great film by Wayne Wang, with Harvey Keitel as this shopkeeper he's a proprietor of a tobacco store where people come in to discuss and kind of share their takes on life, It was based on a Paul Auster's short story. Malin is kind of like this. She has this idea of that doing okay is nothing. She's kind of like the slacker of it. That her active is or her will is the will to do nothing except doing glue in the script. Yeah, and then we have Varja. She's going to these courses for deep breathing for pregnant women, but she is not pregnant. I think also this the whole film is basically you could read it in two ways. You could say like, oh yeah, in many ways it's a kind of like a fight club for women, in this sense that it's about working class women who try to find their way in a fucked up society. And I think also within this time when I wrote it, the identity of the society was starting to decline, in the let's say 60s, 70s, 80s, even the 90s had some very distinct sort of identity. And this was in an era, where internet had come, globalism, global capitalism also had its toll. And I wanted to see a film where the absurdity of being a human in this very, very fucked up world, where illusion started to not as now, where fiction and reality is totally mixed up, but you had this kind of feeling of a world that was about to crack, and within this crack you had these women who, in opposite to the men, had the ability to see this crack, and the difference, what I wanted to see was also, this is probably why all these girls had this, in the beginning of the story, they have some kind of, safe relationships. In many ways, the men are very, how to say, woozy, and maybe even in the script have taken the role back then of the women, you know. We also lived, this was also in a much more, how to say, man chauvinistic era. And what was going on here was that you see these women, and they were trying to change something, huh? Karin is sitting and watching Day of the Dead, and we see the tragic part where a zombie tries to look like a human and shaves off its skin. The evolution stops with the video stores. You take out a tenth of your salary in films that makes you depressed. You think you know how you make it through, and how you will avoid being a zombie just because you've seen a film about it. And yet every vein has to work double shift to ignore that voice in your head saying, do something with your life, have social competence, don't mix tequila and nail polish, invest in a little company, don't get dependent on anybody else, try to survive. And then we have Åsa and Fredrik, and they are slowly, their marriage is slowly declining. He tries to take her to a movie, and it doesn't pan out very well. And Varja, the film she's trying to write, is actually called Girls and Glue. Varja is deciding to quit her job at the video store because she feels like it. And her boyfriend, Peter, he asks her what she will do. And she doesn't want to do anything. You know, she has kind of lost the idea of why work at all. You know, there's these moments in this film where apparently she has this epiphany, why do anything? And she is also starting to question the relationship with Peter and saying like she doesn't want kids, that she wants to stop this going to these pregnant courses when obviously she doesn't want to have a kid at all. This movie takes place over 3 days, right? So we're in this kind of in the middle of the film, and these girls, they are all finding themselves in a shitty place with their relationships and in their lives, you know. And is there any way to move forward from this? I remember the way I tried to write it was that their kind of antagonists in the film were themselves, you know. So there is no like bad person in these films. Basically, they're all antagonists by themselves, you know. This type that Varja is going basically to this unemployment office to get a work that she doesn't want to have, in some kind of very desperate way, when how she reacts to this very nice woman who tries to find her a job. She cuts off all her hair and goes out from the unemployment office. Interior laundry room, morning. Åsa is standing and looking at the laundry hours. She closes her eyes and let the finger wander through the names. She stops at one. It says Mrs. Larsson. Åsa voiceover. In the home, they would call this the denial phase, the step before you acknowledge that there is something better. A healthy life. The future is planned after your time manager in sheep leather. So you go on as usual. You push your nose against a cotton sheet washed with softener in 60 degrees that, according to the commercial, almost feels like your mother's caressing. Exterior street morning. Åsa is running with the laundry in her bosom. Åsa voiceover. You keep on going. Shave your bikini line. Buy fish food. Watch morning TV. Pay your bills. Become member of a nice organization. You keep on going, as usual. Exterior balcony morning. We see when Åsa is standing on the ledge of the balcony. Keep on going as usual. Jump, swan jump from the 4th floor with your head before. And bring a knife or a gun or some sedatives on the way down if you, against all odds, would survive. She falls. Interior Åsa's apartment morning. Åsa stands and looks at the empty balcony ledge through the window. She only seen the jump from the balcony in front of her. Åsa turns around and goes towards the drawer in the hallway with the stolen sheet. Go on as usual, you know. Suicide victims can have a fun time. Yesterday, or in the good old days, when I was writing my goodbye letters, I wanted people to cry. Keep on going. Write literary little masterpieces. 15 pages of feeling pornography. I used to do lists of which ones I know who should rotten in hell. But I need something more, and then I don't need a cause to live. I need a better cause to die. Fredrik is, he can't stand this relationship anymore, and he's also obviously some kind of alcoholic, so he comes home drunk 11 o'clock in the daytime, and she throws him out. Meanwhile, we see Varja. She has decided to change her life. As you recall, she shaved off her hair in the unemployment office, and she is saying like this to the mirror, this in a kind of taxi driver styling. I haven't realized what I was supposed to do before. I didn't have a task, but now I know. Sooner or later there will be a turning point, an opening that leads the way. She splashes some water into her face. Varja, I don't need Arnold and 1 billion crowns to say that it's the end of humanity. I'm not gonna wait until the fashion of 2001 is revolution outfit and where you can buy Molotov cocktails in IKEA. I'm not some midterm price off or some celebrity interview in the Sunday paper. I'm not a thank you speech at the film gala. And Varja decides to get her message out, and she is making Molotovs. This film has a very, very slow and genuine build-up, I guess. This is because since this is one of the first scripts I wrote, it has maybe half of the film is a build-up to a very certain point in these characters' lives. And it's the moment where you realize that all your life you have been trying to go the good girl's way. And what do I mean with this? This is that we have some very, very intelligent characters who has tried to go the way, basically, the pack or the flock or the lemming train is going. But they found themselves somewhere along the journey that, wait, what is this? Where am I leading myself? So the very big moment in the middle of the film is where all the characters, in all their different ways, are saying, hey, I let go of everything. They've been clinging on to the normal aspects of being human. And what do I mean with normal? I mean with somebody who uses triple safety nets. And they decide instead to cut a big hole in this safety net and just fall through. Realize and acknowledge that their life is out of their hands, in total chaos and mayhem, and go with that. Let yourself fall. So in a strange way, they also go the way I think many fundamentalists are going. But since this is a comedy, it's more on their terms, So it's that very moment where you say, I stop being the supporting act to my life, who is only kind of want to embed you in this protective sheath that is basically keeping you all cottoned up and totally numb, and saying, all right, I go the way that is totally out of all control, And today you would probably call it own your narrative or something. But remember, back then, things were still not so narratized. And people did not report their lives every single step into the central computer of social media, So it's about these sleeping characters who all of a sudden wake up and say, hey, what is this? Whose life am I living? And I've been waiting and patiently doing what others, going the way others have staked out for me. And now is the time to do something different. I just mean it's time to get our accounts going. Just take a thing like films. How many films have you seen where girls actually kick ass? Says Karin. Thelma and Louise, Lauren Bacall, Ripley in the Alien movies. Maybe some blaxploitation flicks. You're jumping from the subject, right? This is not about you and me. It's not about society. It's about what we risk. What do you risk, huh? What we risk is to lose the comfortable, non-conscious luxury to be able to sit on our asses and look when everything goes down. What are we going to do then? We can always start with becoming angry. Who are we? You don't give a fuck about me. You don't give a fuck about yourself. What are you going to have, huh? Kind of a ward that you can use as a toilet paper holder or something to reflect yourself while you wipe yourself in your enlightened ass? Is that to do something? Well, I was in good spirit. Karin, I love you and I respect you. I just want you to be good. If you do it in the video store, fine. If you don't, you should do something about it. You gotta get into your head, Varja, that I'm not like you. Nobody is like you. People don't give a fuck that this world is going down. They're too stupid to get it. People don't give a fuck if they work in Bofors or McDonald's, because in the end, it's all about surviving. Karin, yes, I'm sitting on my ass. Yes, I see how I'm declining, and yes, I would like to kill my tutor and put the video store on fire, but it's my choice not doing it, right? I'm too lazy to put some telephone into the ass of somebody who called and said that he would kill me. If he would walked in through the door of the video store, it had been one thing, but I'm not the type who make things happen. You maybe are, but you have nothing to lose. Then, of course, towards the end, this lazy girl, the glue girl, Malin, turns out to be the dirty caller. And they decide to, put down their weapons, and actually Malin confesses that she's in love with Karin. And all these actions goes together. Maria gets this film for this old lady, and she watches Modern Times with Chaplin, where they walk into the sunset, and she laughs her ass off just before she dies, Still now, 20 years later, or maybe 23 years later from when I, as a young man, wrote this Girls and Glue, I still haven't seen this film in Sweden, and I still haven't seen so many films like this where the inner conflict of these women, it's not I remember that the boyfriends in the film, they kind of had the roles of the balanced girlfriend in that we are so used to see on film, and I haven't seen this flipped perspective actually still. And I guess the film was also trying to show how some kind of change would be possible in a very, very conform society, even for those unlikely characters that normally never get to be the heroes in their own lives, And when it came out, it was hailed as one of the most important films ever made. And people all over the world really connected to the message. It's premiered on Sundance Film Festival and came out to rave reviews, where they, among other things, said, I never seen such astonishing characters, so multi-layered, so double fragile. It made me laugh, cry, and everything in between. And then that was how I depicted things would go with Girls and Glue. That it proved my thesis that if you have strong characters who is kind of fighting the inner friction of their lives, you can make wonders, right? Then the reality of it was that I got a letter from Memphis and Lucas where he said, this film is lacking everything you had in Dog is Watching. It's not funny, and it's not exciting in any way. Some people like opera, some people like country. I don't like this. That was it, And I had spent all this time writing it. I was devastated. I even casted the film. It was supposed to star Malin Luvanon, who today is a famous actress, and Mariana, who I written this Maria character for, and Nicky Nordenskjöld, who unfortunately passed away. She was supposed to play Karin, and it was such a setback. I thought that here it is. I'm going on the great trail where I am with Dog is Watching. I put everything that I did love from films of this great era into it. But most of all, I put all these feelings of what it was to be a young person in the late 90s, 2000s. And I thought I kind of made a very radical and funny movie about turning every day on its head and also kind of like a battle cry to young men and women to say, like, go your own way. There is a light at the end of the tunnel as such. I must say also that this kind of feelings of death probably stem from that. Yes, of course, I am somebody who thinks about death, but I reacted to that so many young people then and now was feeling so bad, and I wanted to kind of make a film that was showing the pointlessness of life, but also that meaning is not something that is there. It's kind of created, even if it's the smallest meaning of everything. That there is somehow some way out of it, instead of giving up and saying, all right, now everything is lost. I had two goals in my life. One would be to make that feature that I promised myself I would make before I was 21. And the second I had was that, okay, now I've been personal on one level, but let's make this totally personal. Let's start fully from beginning. Because whatever you say about this, obviously, this Girls and Glue is as much of a metaphor for my life. It was back then. I decided instead to make something 100% autobiographical, and that led me to the film Köftbögen, which I shot the year after this Girls and Glue. And in next episode you will hear about how that film got made. Until then, this beautiful gemstone of a movie is lost in time, embedded in a drawer. But by picking this one up, I hope it came a little bit alive to you. This is Johan Melin, and you're listening to Made Unmade.